you can directly give it, send to me, and I will respond. Okay.
For sure, sir.
If necessary, we can even try and talk.
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay, then I'll just begin.
Yes, sir.
So it is the market analytics that we are talking about.
Correct, sir.
Okay. Metrics. We have, most of the thing in any case is a kind of a repeat. Okay. Because we have talked on various occasions how to measure. And measurement and analytics are the way forward in marketing, because the more analytical you are, the more insights and the more way forwards you get, or more choices you get to how to tackle a customer. Okay, so that basically is marketing metrics. So here it is, importance of marketing metrics, key marketing metrics. Okay, marketing audit. Now, why do you need to audit is an important question that we will talk about. And market analytics. So analysis of whatever the metrics are and how the trends are moving, both external and internal, are a very important aspect in marketing. And a good marketing manager will always try to make a decision based on data. Okay. Now, all this while I've been saying that perception, and last time you had even asked me a question. How, if you're talking about perception and insights, then how does data? The simple answer is that the commonality or the frequency at which a particular thing is talked about speaks a lot about your target customers' desires, the inner desires. And that actually is the insight. You pick up an insight, you hear something new, you try and cross-check it with others. So marketing analytics can give you directions there.
So
okay,
just a thing before you start. Sir, marketing analytics is means combination of analysis of the data also and the insights also. Suppose once you visit a customer, once you visit a customer, there are some informal information, how the industry will go, how the budget will go, or how they are planning inside and all. So that as such data will not be there, but we'll get some information. So we have to make an analysis based on both of the things. My understanding.
Exactly. Very, very correct understanding. And how the insights are converted into data is that you get into a frequency at which people speak about it. If somebody has told you and that is new, what you do is you have a focus group of users. Every company has a set of favorite users or favorable users, where you can bring them together, give them a cup of coffee or tea or whatever, and some samosa, and ask them to brainstorm around that kind of a need. And that can be reduced to a quantity, a number. Okay. Then the next step is to, that's like formulating your research questions. And then you again get into, research by collecting data on it. Okay. By collecting information, questionnaire-based or interview-based information on that. And then it gets converted into number, just like the hard statistics. Is that understood?
Sir. So what you're telling is try to bring the insights into a number form or with repetition of the same insights. How we can derive it from there and all.
That's right. So I just put off the video because here I'm having a little bit of network issue.
No issue.
So the important thing is that we collect the data, both the hard and the soft data, and quantify them, and then get into setting up our KPIs first. Where do we want to reach? It's a very simple thing, as if we want to go to, let's say, from Gurgaon to Delhi, then we must fix that we want to go to Delhi. Otherwise, what can happen is that we might start traveling towards Jaipur and saying we want to reach Delhi, or midway decide we want to. So we have to first fix where we want to go. Metrics is the measures that you take as to how the progress is happening. Now, you want to reach Delhi in 1 hour. So now you have options of traveling by bus, traveling by metro, traveling by car, traveling by bike, traveling by bullock cart, or even walking. Okay. So if you decide first, because you need to reach, you set a metric, reach Delhi in 1 hour, you can now be in a position to say that, look, I need to take maybe a car. Or maybe a metro. All right. Then you start, another metric is, okay, in 1 hour, that means in half an hour, where have I reached? So if the train is going slow, I mean, that train is going slow, then you know that, look, you have to get out quickly and change course and maybe take a cab to reach where you want to reach, right? So metrics are mainly that, and these are the important. Firstly, it is a quantitative measure assessing marketing performance. Like I just said, it's a measure that in half an hour you have, if it was 20 kilometers that you needed to travel, in half an hour you have only traveled 5 kilometers. That means 15 kilometers needs to be covered. And then you can again relook at it and say, no, this will not work. Now I'll have to do another thing. So first important thing is assessing how you're performing. And then the next one is correcting, which is the second point. Used to evaluate effectiveness and guide decisions. So you then take a decision that, look, let me leave the metro and get into a cab so that I can reach faster. It also is a measure by which you can avoid, what do you say, the wasteful expense. Okay. Then it can range from strategic objectives. So long-term objective you can have, and you can fix up milestones that you can measure whether you are on track, or it can have a tactical, objective, which is operational. Okay. Then ensure how you're going to apportion your resources. Like I just said, that if you're taking a metro and then suddenly you felt that this is not happening, so you change over to a taxi. So you've reallocated both your financial as well as equipment resource, right? You've reworked it, something like that. So this is what it is. Why is it crucial? Again, performance evaluation and making an informed decision, database decision. Okay. Resource allocation, goal alignment. The goals are normally set by the company, and each department must align to it. Otherwise, like I said, that if there is a group playing music, somebody playing tabla, somebody playing sitar, somebody playing bansuri and things like that, and if all were to play their own tune because they were masters in it, then what you are going to get is not music, you are going to get sound, okay, a noise. So alignment with the company objectives of where they want to reach. Now, it might be that we want to be the most preferred, brand in the market. This may be measured by sales, but this may also be otherwise measured that the trust level is much higher. So that can be measured. Or they might want to say that in next 2 years, we will grow at the rate of 20%. So you have set a time and you have set a target that 20% per annum will be growth. So at the end of 2 years, you should be able to be about 42, 43% to be able to have grown at 20%. So it is a kind of slightly long-term goal, and you are, while tactical aspects you are taking, you're working towards that goal. Okay. Accountability, obviously, when there are objectives given, then you don't have to fight with your juniors. You pre-agree with the objective. This is what is called management by objectives, for which Peter Drucker is very famous. So the data itself gives a very transparent way for the employee to see how well he's performing. And it also obviously gives the manager an opportunity to find out where he's underperforming and where he's overperforming and what can be done. And of course, the last point, because of the accountability and goal alignment, it's a process. Metrics help you in continuously improving. Now, these are some of the things we have already talked, so I will not spend much time on this. We have talked about return on investment. We have talked about CAC. We have talked about CLV. Conversion rate is the rate at which customers come to you. In there is more done in the e-com this thing, but it is also as valid in the brick and mortar work, where how many people step into a particular shop to buy a particular kind of product, out of which how many buy yours. That's what is conversion rate. Churn rate is exactly the opposite. How many people bought your product and how many of them left to buy something else. And click-through rate is again almost like conversion rate, where people look at, there are email marketing, there is websites where you have a link to which calls for action. So while the traffic has come to you, what is the traffic which is effectively buying your product is the click rate. This, of course, is measured everywhere, and this can be also a hard data, customer satisfaction index. Okay, market share, I don't think I need to explain. Brand awareness for marketing people is a very, very important this thing. How people, because jab tak log janenge nahi, tab tak log kharidenge kaise? So what is the level of awareness? If, like last time also we asked, that if I ask you which toothpaste you want, you would say Colgate. So that's the level of awareness. It's sunk into you. Okay. So if there is something which is obscure and you don't know, then basically what happens is there's a little bit of mistrust, or it can be very high. Then marketing attribution model helps in determining marketing channels and touch points. So you are able to study, I mean, in a multi-channel kind of situation where you have retail stores, where you have company-owned stores, where you have these big malls, so and you have online presence as well. Then what is the touch point where your target customers are visiting more? Because ultimately marketing is meeting your customer where he wants to meet you, not the other way around. So this marketing attribution is a good measure, a good matrix to study, to see whether your strategy is working well or not working well, or what you need to do. Then customer feedback and sentiment analysis. This is really picking up the insights, where over time, if this is studied properly, over time you are able to say what is lacking or what you're doing better than others. It also, in many fashion, if you can benchmark it towards with any other competitor, you'll know how well or how bad you're doing. And this is a tool with which you can take strategic, not tactical decisions. Okay, sales funnel analysis is simple. I had shown you a sales funnel. So you remember spam cop, I had said that you have a huge funnel. At the top, there are many who are suspects, then prospects. Then those who are interested from the prospects, you get into, you approach them. And then you get into negotiation. So the funnel, I mean, the numbers keep coming down, maybe 1,000 at the top, but finally 10 buy. Okay. So this analysis of every, market, every format of distribution, also every store can be done, and also every territory. You can understand that maybe there are, Gurgaon has 2 lakh customers of my this thing, but only 200 buy. So then it gives you an opportunity to see what is it that is missing. And you go trying to find out and find that unsaid need that your product could probably be a solution to. So how do you set it? First, set clear objectives of what you want from each matrix. Okay. Then which is the target audience that you are going to do? What is the value proposition that you're going to offer to that target audience? Like I said, that there is another concept called fabbing. That is the features of a product. Now, product can be a good or a service. Okay, what are the features? Now, normally, marketing, I mean, this is an error, but many marketers try to pack in as many features as is possible in their ad. This only actually blurs the picture for them, and they get confused. The customer feels whether I should buy or I don't buy. I don't know what all this is about. So a value proposition is a straightforward offer that you make. And ideal example, again, I'm going to take the example of iPhone. The latest, have you seen their latest? It keeps coming now on my phone at least. Okay, I don't have an iPhone, but it keeps coming. And they say new Foria. Means they are actually only trying to, so the features are there, which they don't talk about. Each feature has an attribute, what it can do. Okay. But they don't talk about these two. Fabbing is features, attributes, and benefits. They are talking about the benefits, which is actually directly hitting the customers, WIIFM. Is that clear? Dheeraj, are you with me? Dheeraj? Dheeraj? No. Hi, sir. Hi, Dheeraj. What point I lost you, Dheeraj?
So I think on the last slide only. This was not the slide.
Okay. So we were talking about these important
brand awareness.
Yeah.
Brand awareness.
Brand awareness is, like I said, the most important matrix, because like I told you, if people don't know you, then they don't buy you. Okay. Like they say that if they like the way you behave, they will speak to you. But if they begin to trust you, then they will do business with you. You understand? So that is, oh my God, what happened?
No, sir, it is okay. I think your screen is not presenting.
So I'm host participant disabled. I don't know. I've been disabled. Neeraj?
He's also there.
Give me the host rights.
Yes, just give me, sir. Give me, sir, 1 minute. Actually, yes. Dheeraj was not able to join, so that's why I have to join. Now I have given the host position again.
Okay.
Dheeraj ko bhi de deta hu, then I will move on.
Yeah. Is this visible?
Yes, sir, visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I was talking about a simple thing that if people like the way you dress, like you otherwise, they will talk to you. But they will do business with you only if they trust you. And this brand awareness is about creating that trust. It's a difficult, arduous process, but every marketing man must go through this. Okay, that is why the brand awareness measures like opportunities to see, click per 1,000, all those kind of metrics are always taken. Okay, share of the voice, share of the noise, as they call it, that all the brands are shouting. How much are you being heard? Okay, then share of the purse. That is a larger concept where, if there is 1 rupee, I can spend it on anything, but I choose to spend it on your brand. So of that 1 rupee, suppose your product costs 10 paisa. So you have 10% share of the customer's purse. So these are all pointers to what the customer, your target customer. You cannot please everybody. We talked about customer persona. So you cannot please everybody. So the target persona, he earns, let's say, 1 lakh rupees, out of which how much does he spend on you? And that is again compared to how much is he selling for similar products or the product on the same genre. Okay. Market attribution, like we said, that it's again a study of various channels, various territories, various salespeople, what is moving faster and where it is not moving faster. I'll take you back to Standard Battery, where I just told you that I had discovered the Andheri RTO, and that was where my customer lived. And I pulled out the entire field force from entire Bombay and just concentrated on that area, which was, under the Andheri RTO, and wanted to get my market share equal to what I should get in entire Bombay from there. This idea came out only from this market attribution, where I found that the sales in Andheri were going much faster and per dealer. And then I was able to make out that it is best in, the Lokhandwala, Sat Bangla and Four Bangla area. So I was then able to plan my campaigns accordingly, that, okay, if I'm getting 10% here, why can't I try and get 20% here? And sometimes the competitor, if he's too big, has two difficulty. First, he ignores that this is a small timer, he doesn't do. Secondly, they have a problem. If they try to do this, they are going to be accused of favoritism. Okay, and that will, cause a lot of channel conflict in their thing. So market attribution is one good pointer, and then to strategize around it happens. Customer feedback and sentiment analysis is basically trying to look at those insights as to how customer preferences are changing. I'm sure you all have done a Maslow's hierarchy. Dheeraj, Sashmi.
No, sir.
Okay, Maslow's hierarchy is that you progress from very basic needs, physiological needs, which is hunger, thirst, those kind of desires, those very animal desires. That is the first need we have. Once that is satisfied, you move to the next step of trying to get something extra. So let's say comfort, etc. Once you have achieved that, then you get into a situation where you are desiring more. So, and then finally you reach a position. I mean, I can't spend too much time on Maslow's theory, but you reach a place where what we call nirvana, where it is actualizing yourself. You do things to actualize yourself. Now, similarly, when you start using a product, you start developing more and more expectations out of that product. It happens to product, it happens to people, your own people, your friends, your relatives. Once you start liking them, then the expectation goes up. That's a very human thing. And for marketing, that is very important. So this customer feedback and sentiment analysis looks at that angle, that whether you are still keeping your customer engaged or not. So this is a qualitative thing, Dheeraj, that we have been talking about, picking up those perceptions. Sales funnel, I had already told you, is a large funnel where, you remember Spanko?
Yes, sir. Suspected.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So as you reach a place and you want to tackle that market, everybody is a suspect. Everybody can be your customer. Eventually, you realize that not everybody will like your product. They may buy, let's say, if you're making shoes, they may buy shoes, but it may not be the kind of shoes or the value proposition that you are making. So you then go around looking for who is the one who will resonate with your value proposition. Okay, so that becomes your prospect. Then you approach the customer. Okay, so again, you can't approach everybody simultaneously. So the funnel comes down. Some are outliers, you can't reach them or whatever. Then you obviously, after approaching, you negotiate with them, which is the first point. When the customer start negotiating, that is the first hint he's giving that he's interested. In fact, one of our executive development programs on selling, one clue that the customer gives is when he asks you, what's the price? That means he is interested. So that's the point of negotiation. Okay, and then depending on how the negotiation, how do you handle his objections and how do you handle his concerns, you convert them, and then you get an order, and finally it's a payment. That is what is the sales funnel. So every point, if you are studying, then you will be able to find out which is the point at which you're getting held up. Now, if you can understand that point and if you know your customer well, then the work is easy. Then you know why you should alter your tactical approach to them. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you remember, I told you about going to Century Cements at Tilda and talking to the mines manager and saying that I have to sell to you. This was it. He was rejecting it, and then I could find out a value proposition that I could make to him. Okay, so that was studying the funnel properly and finding out which are the pain points that the customer has and at what stage. Now, how do you set these metrics? Firstly, for each metric, what do you intend to achieve must be known. Just like I said, that you must know if you want to reach Delhi in 1 hour, then that is a clear objective, that we must do this in 1 hour. Then you must target your customer. Who are the persons who you want to reach out to? What is their persona like? So that segmentation is a matrix. So there might be one segment which is, let's say, 30% of the entire population, entire prospect population. Now that 30% may not have, let's say, money enough, or they don't earn enough to afford your product. That's useless. Okay, like take the case of automotive batteries. The commercial vehicle owners don't want branded batteries because they are maybe 40 to 50% more expensive. Though they believe that the quality is better and all that, but they say, no boss, abhi jitna hamara kaam chal jayega, usi ko hum karenge. So the value proposition to them from a branded battery manufacturer is zero. Okay, so if I start chasing that, it will not happen. Then consistency across the channel. Now, this is a feedback that you take from customers as to how your communication is going. Now, communication can be both verbal and non-verbal. By verbal, I mean TV commercials, advertisements, etc. Even your sales promotion, which is not essentially marketing, but even that should be communicated. But it is also the personality that you are able to communicate that builds trust. So if that is not consistent, if in the TV channel you are talking about something, and in the print media you're talking about something else, and if you're in sales promotion you're doing something else, and if in your PR you're doing something else, then that doesn't work. So that feedback is again taken to find out if there is any confusion in the mind of customer. Then resource allocation is, of course, to do this consistently, what should be the resources? Now, TV if you were to take opportunities to see, it is supposed to be the most economical medium. Why? Because it reaches millions. Okay. So if they charge you, let's say 10 lakhs and it reaches 10 million. So the cost per viewer is low. But then that 10 million may not be useful for you. Your product is more specialized, or your brand offering is geared to something else. Then it becomes expensive. So that you need to understand whether you should go into the TV at all or not. So when people are launching their product, when they are at the suspect prospect stage, then going to the TV, and you must have seen most companies do that. When they are launching a product, they're heavily into TV because they want to reach out and see who responds. And then pick up the insights and then withdraw out of TV and go into those relevant media. Okay. The key performance indicator, of course, which is set for your sales people, for your distribution people, for everything, so that it is again to economize. So that is an important indicator. And strategy, it can also be how the strategy is mapping through your metrics. So if you say that after 5 years, we will be a 100 crore company or 1,000 crore company. Right now, you are only 100. Then the planning and the roadmap as to how, like I told you, that every business or anything that you do in your life centers around the 5 Ws and an H. Do you all remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That H is almost equal to those 5 Ws. Okay, the 5 Ws, if there is no H, is only a dream or a wish list, which doesn't work. So that is what the objective should be. Then there is a feedback loop, which must concentrate. There is always, you always have to look at your competitor. There is nothing about it. Timelines and milestones, data-driven decision-making, cross-functional collaboration is necessary. So marketing is charged with not just marketing. They are charged with reaching the product to the customer, and therefore all the departments, they must get a buy-in from all the departments to be able to deliver. Periodic reviews and adaptations, of course. So periodic review, so you say, okay, for this particular metric, I will review it every 15 days, some maybe every quarter, some every year. And then basis that, if you find that it is working or not working, you adapt your tactical, tactics to meet the strategic goals of the company. Measuring, of course, return on investment always is important, because ultimately you have to, to be effective and efficient, you have to be very, very cost conscious. Okay, because whether the company is small or whether it's very large, money is one this thing which is on very short supply, and therefore measuring the return on investment is how you're going to do it, and what would be the factors that you will be considering. See, some factors would be strategic and they could be maybe over next 5 years. Some could be very short term, which could be handled tactically. So those metrics are being taken. Now, marketing metrics, let's talk about let's repeat. So here are the difference between a metric. I will not spend too much time. I'll send this PPT to Neeraj and then you'll get it. What is the difference between a metric and a key performance indicator? Any questions so far?
Sir, for customer feedback and sentiment analysis, na?
Mm.
So the customer sentiment analysis will be done through the customer feedback only.
That's right. No, not only feedback. You see, feedback, like we remember that when you go to a hotel, restaurant, or you are in an airlines, you're given a form, you can fill that.
Correct, sir.
Okay. So that feedback is not enough. What you are looking for is trying to find out what is that extra that the customer is looking for. Remember, Dheeraj, I've told you that often when you are not technically qualified about a product,
Correct, sir.
then we are not able to completely say what I need. But there is a hidden desire. Okay, this is known as the intrinsic perception or intrinsic desire to have things. And if you were to read, I mean, it would be very interesting, and literature is available on the net. Do read Maslow's hierarchy theory, okay, and apply it to anything, whether it is business or personal life. You will find that 99.99% it works. So it works more in marketing, because once I own something and I start using it, then when I see a limitation of the product, okay, my desire grows that why can't I do this? And that is how any growth has happened. And that's why you get several, like iPhone 1 to 15, these small things. And the moment the marketing man is able to sense it and his company is able to deliver, he builds trust. Okay, so it is not just taking a form. It is picking up from the market and then trying to quantify it. Let's say your target audience is young executives like both of you. Okay, so and you pick up that they like my iPhone, but they also wish there was a button that could do that. Just give you an example. I mean, it's a business idea which somebody can pick up. Both of you have TV at home?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And how many times at home have you misplaced your remote? You may not have. Somebody in your family may have kept it somewhere.
Yes, sir. That was.
And then there is a small argument which is unnecessary. So what do you say? At that time, the wish is, I wish there was some way to locate this place. Okay, if you could locate the thing by some method, then there would be no need to argument. Just go and do that, and you'll get your remote, and you can change your channel. So you've seen these remote controlled bells. You have a switch which is kept on your table.
Correct.
And if you want to call a few, you just press that, or otherwise, whatever signals that you want to give, you press and somewhere it will bring. Suppose you could fit that button on the TV. Okay? And that buzz can happen in the remote. And maybe it will also light up. Does that address an unsaid problem of the customer?
Yes, sir. This will be helpful.
Yeah. So now, suppose I were to make a product like that. Okay. Who could be my target audience?
Any family or any person who is having the TV at home.
Yeah. So that is one. But why can't I go to the TV manufacturers, the original equipment OEMs, as they are called?
Correct.
So why don't you provide this feature? And we can just put one switch, maybe at the back of that smart TV, which if the thing is lost, you just go and press it and this thing makes a little noise and you can find out. Right? So that can be, now if I were to try and make that and sell, I will go through all these meetings to be able to do it. Okay, and if I will be the first on the block, then it is got what is called the first mover advantage. And therefore, the trust level will become higher for me. If I can do it well, I can design the product very well. It doesn't change too much of the look of the, let's say, the TV, and the noise is pretty musical, and the lights are, not too, hurting the eye. Then maybe, so then it becomes a design thing, Now, these are all explanations and how it is applied. So I will not spend too much time on this. So ROI is a vital financial metric used to assess the efficiency and profitability of the investment. But it has limitations since related to time frame, non-financial factors, complexities, and risk consideration. Like how loved is my brand? It doesn't get reflected in the ROI. It's a straight financial calculation. What is the complexity for which my ROI is lower? Is it turbulent market conditions? Is it, sudden migration of people? Let's say it could even be COVID, or what are the risks that were there where maybe my ROI could have been better? So it doesn't consider all that. But it is still a good pointer as to know which direction the organization is moving. CAC we have already talked about, so we'll not waste too much time on this. CLV also we have talked about it. Okay, examples of KPIs: conversion rate. Here's the definition. What is the role it plays? Same for churn rate, same for click-through. So there is another thing called objective and key results. Now, KPI is key performance indicator. Objective and key, and key results is trying to take commitment. This is more internal to the organization, where you sit down with your team and decide on the objectives. I mean, the objectives are already there. Decide that what would be a good measure to give you the key results that you want. So that is the difference between an OKR and the KPIs. Here is the objective. So key results like increase monthly website traffic. So achieve 20% growth in organic search traffic. Now, these are analytics that are there, so you can understand whether you have done it or not. Okay. So objective to enhance customer satisfaction. Achieve, a higher net promoter score of 70 or higher. Net promoter, as I told you, is how many people are willing to come and buy and stay with you. Then key result is resolve 90% of customer support ticket. If you remember, Airtel had even used this in their ad, where they said our complaint is coming down. Okay, do you remember that ad?
Yes, sir.
So that's building up, a customer satisfaction through net promoter score. Launching new products. So one area is get 10,000 pre-orders. Okay, most of this is happening in the the EE business world, but it also works in the the normal brick and mortar. Then improve employee development. Now, you feel that your sales force is undertrained or something. So how would you do that is one result area that you as a manager has been given by your superior. So one measure could be that 80% of employees or 90% of employees will go through a particular training during a year. Okay. Usually those training must result in a particular percentage of improvement in the performance. Now, if you put too much pressure, then and your turnover rates are high. So what happens is that you lose trained staff, and then may have to reinvest in training the new people. So one of the things that companies are always worried about, even in India, where there's so much unemployment, that they don't want to lose so higher the turnover, the more the company is at risk. So too in marketing, higher the turnover of marketing force, because they know your culture, they have been trained to deliver. And then if you lose, so this will again be one of the factors on which the performance of the manager is judged. Okay. So challenges in OKR, this setting ambitious, these are the things that you need to do. Like I said, that the target must have a little bit of stretch and a stress, but it should not be overwhelming that the team doesn't attend. So that's one, this thing, you have to know how to establish an equilibrium. Alignment, obviously the objectives and the result area must align with what the company hopes to achieve. And then in the OKR situation, every result and every objective must be clearly measurable, just like I showed you in the example. The rest you can read. Balancing, again, OKR is usually becomes a short-term thing. And this example of this, like in US and some of the companies in India, they declare their quarterly balance sheet. Now, the pressure on profitability is so high that they tend to take some unethical paths, and many of them at their own peril. Uske baad, gaming. What is gaming? We talked about this. Gaming is, if the system, I'll give you a small example. I am under pressure to sell and meet a target. Okay. Now that's not happening. So what I do is that, okay, I mean, particularly this can happen in insurance. Every agent gets, let's say, 15%, and he's not getting enough business. He says, boss, you pay this 1 lakh and I will return you 10,000 back. Okay. Now that is beating the system. That is not how the strategy has been taken. And if you talk to the insurance agents, they will tell you in that training, they have been told that if a customer asks, what is the commission you earn, you have to honestly tell him what you are. But if the customer says that out of that, you give me so much, you please lose the business. Okay. You don't want that business. The reason simply being that they don't want channel conflicts. The insurance agent is free to, enlist or get customers from anywhere in the country. And therefore, by doing this kind of a thing, it can damage the company overall. So overemphasizing, I mean, too much of quantitative metrics, if we apply, then it becomes overwhelming for the sales or the performers, mainly sales, to do anything. And then he's bogged down by only fulfilling them and not really doing the work that's supposed to be. When you are getting into the OKR situation, there is generally a resistance from the team itself, because they are used to remaining unaccountable, and now you are holding them accountable. If there is no clarity, that's a challenge. And authentic data availability. Now, what really happens is that often in the companies, people try to kind of whitewash the data, and then setting objective and key result becomes a little bit of a challenge. Okay, and then if you start looking at that OKR too closely, you start micromanaging, and nobody likes that. Nobody likes people to be on their shoulders. So this is a key difference. KPI measures ongoing performance. OKR emphasizes on setting and achieving strategic objectives. Time frame, KPI often measured continuously, while OKR have defined frames. Measurement KPI track current or recent performance, while OKR focus on quantifying progress towards future goals. Scope KPI covers a wide range of performance metrics, whereas OKR are narrower and focus on strategic priorities. Purpose KPI are about tracking and maintaining performance, while OKR is about driving progress and achieving specific objectives. This thing you can read this thing in red. Any questions on this?
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
Is it very clear? Because I'm going very fast.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, because it will not be possible to cover this entire thing. So what I'm going to do, don't worry about it. What I've talked to Mr. Neeraj is I will now send all the PPTs to Mr. Neeraj, who in turn will be sending it to you. If there are any questions, any doubts, please feel free to reach out to me through Mr. Neeraj, or he has my email ID. If he gives it to you, you can write to me directly. All right?
Right, sir.
Okay.
But so far, was there anything that you did not understand?
Understand, sir, but I think we need to go more into the PPT and get through it, all the terms and all.
Yeah, yes.
Sure. Now, marketing audit. Why should there be marketing audit?
If there is no gaming or all the ethical practices has been taken care.
See, there
What?
are few purposes. When you set the KPIs and the OKRs, you automatically enact a few policies, right? This is the fairest way in which the company would go, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is first. One audit is that whether are we going in that direction or not. If we are not, often, in my career of 38 years in the corporate world and even in the education world, now spanning 47 years, I have found that auditors have been my best friends. That is, if you are honest and transparent, they point out a mistake, not to fault you, but they point out so that mera audit hai aur ye hone wala hai. Okay. Mera audit hai to mera ye hone wala hai. Mere ko ye ho jayega. That's a fear that should not be there, because audit is supposed to actually say that, okay, this was a strategy, this was a tactics to be taken. However, in the process of, like I said, if there is too much quantitative, this has gone off this thing. And overall, if that is not, that something unethical has happened, it really hurts the company and the brand. Okay. So it is not that ab tumhari naukri le lenge. Aisa nahi hota hai. They will say, please explain why you did it. First thing the company would do, explain why this was done. If your explanation is not satisfactory, then they will, they'll sit down with you and ask you how to correct it. The only place where if audit catches is when you're caught stealing. Okay. As long as you're not doing that, you'll find that audit, because in the heat of the moment, like let's say I'm into a boxing match. At that time, what shots I hit or I'll give you a better example. Do you both remember that there used to be a bowler called Chetan Sharma? And there used to be a Pakistani batsman called Javed Miadad.
Yes, sir. Heard.
Okay. Now, both of them, this was an India-Pakistan one-day international. That time T20 was not introduced. It was the last ball. Pakistan needed 4 runs to win, 3 to draw. Last ball, Javed Miadad was facing the ball and Chetan Sharma was throwing the ball. Okay, he was bowling. Now, both, Chetan Sharma, what must he be thinking? He must be thinking that I must throw a ball which Javed Miandad either blocks or maybe takes 1 or 2 runs. But what must Javed Miandad be thinking? Whatever happens, he must send the ball outside the boundary. Chetan Sharma bowls a Yorker. You can, if you can find that YouTube, he bowls a Yorker, which is the toughest ball to play in cricket. Javed Miandad stepped out of his crease and almost came, 25% of the crease before the ball could tip, because the Yorker takes effect only after tipping. And he hit it as hard as he could and he got a 6. Right. Now, that's the heat of the moment, both took decisions. Marketing audit is done on a cooler level. Though Pakistan won, that was something which was in normal times. If it was Test cricket, Javed Miandad would have been criticized to house and home for even hitting that 6. Okay, because when you're hitting a 6, that's not supposed to be very good. Okay, it's because you can risk a catch. So marketing audit can point out this, that okay, in the heat of the moment, you took a decision. However, these were the consequences. Now let's try and correct it. That's why marketing audit is done. The reason for marketing audit is to make sure that you are staying the course to achieve all the objectives and goals that you set in the strategy, in a manner or in a how that you have said. Okay, so therefore, marketing audit or even the financial auditors actually are not your enemies. They just point this out and they just point it to the managers. And the managers must, instead of blaming people, must see and find ways to correct that situation. Have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
So marketing audit is a systematic and comprehensive examination of organizations' marketing activities, strategies, and performance. It involves assessing various aspects of company's marketing effort to gain insights, identify strengths and weakness, and make data-driven decisions. This is what they produce, as simple as that. So what are the objectives? First is the assessment of what's happening. They evaluate what was decided and what happened, identify the issues that are causing trouble, whether the resource allocation was, we have just read about this Dwarka Expressway, that it has been overspending. Okay, and then how does it align to the strategy? They also study what the competitors have done. The data is usually available to them. Then what are the risks by you having taken a tactical step? What were the risks that could have hurt the company? Like in this case of Javed Miandad, if that hit was not strong enough, Javed Miandad would have got out and India would have won. Okay, so they would point out that next time, be careful. Okay, data-driven decision and all that is, you can read that. So here are the two kind of audits that happen. One, many good companies, particularly the large companies where the line of control is very long, they have their own internal marketing auditors within the marketing department who will look at how the policies are running and what is being done. Okay, like let's say there is an outstanding. So if the company norm is that we cannot, one of the objectives is that we must have the credit period for not more than 30 days. But in a particular branch, they find that it is 60 days. So they will just point that out. This branch is doing something like this. Okay, so please do something about it. Okay, and then obviously the branch manager is asked, what's condition, how you are, of course, there could be some fireworks also, but it does not really mean that the branch manager will be sacked. The company together tries to see how they can, and since branch manager the closest to the market, he would also know what's troubling. So those kind of things. External parties like the auditors, the financial auditors, or these are specialized chartered accountants and those are external auditors. They also look at marketing. Okay, mainly from the financial. So these are the two kinds of audits. Any questions on this? No questions?
No, sir.
Marketing analytics is the final one. So marketing analytics is, of course, basically using the data. Okay, data collection is there, then measurement and analysis. Now there are a lot of software now available in the market, so this work happens very quickly. Then basis that, evaluation happens, and seek whether you are on the right thing or not. Then obviously it also helps in further subsegmenting the customers. Okay, now there is software available which can predict quite accurately as to which direction your company is going, okay, and what you need to. A/B testing is a method by which you actually compare one strategy to the other. Okay, now with this predictive analysis, you can kind of play with it that, okay, if I remove this factor and do this, what will happen? So in many fashion, A/B is like, gaming. You set up a business simulation game, and it kind of tells you much in advance. And this is getting better and better and better for marketing people to make their life easy. Obviously, optimization and decision making, if you have done all that, A/B testing, you have done predictive analysis, then you are able to optimize your decisions. Then continuous improvement and privacy. And this is a challenge. The privacy and compliance is a challenge because sometimes when you want the data, you actually invade unethically the customer's privacy. So there are laws that are being brought down by government almost all over the world, even in India, to curb that. You can't invade somebody's privacy. So that is a challenge. So here are some of the things: social media monitoring, and now Google Analytics and all that are there, website and app analytics, sales and transaction records that are internal to the company, and that can also be measured very well because that's completely in your control. And the more analytical tools that you can apply, which are available, let's say sales reports, inventory management, this will concern maybe Dheeraj more. Okay, then point of sales data, which is sometimes only taken by 100 customers have walked in. They have these counters. So 100 customers have walked in. So many went to the soap section. Out of 150 went to the soap section. Out of that 50, only 5 bought your brand. Okay, so you are able to constantly in real time assess why that is happening and why more people are not walking in. Buying your product. Okay, customer feedback forms, their feedback. Again, from the customer feedback forms, if you find that there is something going wrong, then it is time for you to try and pick up some insights. So now there are sensors that are there, which, in fact, in Pune, there is a mall where the moment you enter, and if you sign in, okay, there is artificial intelligence available to see and analyze in real time where you are walking and which store you are spending time with. So they are able to send you offers as you go along. Okay. So that's like happening now already. secondary data sources that we pick up from, let's say, Niti Aayog statistics or CMIE data, etc. Statistics, inferential statistics, experimental designs. This happens mostly in scientific products, survey research, and data mining. Data mining is picking up all data that you have, which are kept there, and you organize them in to actually study the thing that you want to. So let's say a customer behavior is reflected somewhere else. His per month purchase or what is the CLV is kept in different places. So they can all be mined and now put together to reflect your customer persona. Customer persona, as I said, is a dynamic thing. And the reason why it is dynamic is because of the Maslow's law of hierarchy, that the customer today might want something, but after using it, his taste might desire more. Qualitative methods I've just explained to you, where the content, the themes that are going around, where you see in the society, grounded theory is developing theories from data. So when you take the hard data, you can even sometimes sense that maybe this is happening, and then you need to test it. Narrative analysis. Okay. Mixed method is using both. So this is the reason why you need to have basically database performance evaluation, and these are the reasons. So the last one, and with this we'll end, is it is important to segment and sub-segment market always. You will notice, let's say, take the example of car. Okay. Any car will come with 3 or 4 variants of the same model. The reason is that they are sub-segmenting, sometimes by income levels, sometimes by aspirational levels, sometimes by, various other social needs. Okay. So they want to, because you cannot completely individualize. So platform being one, the features and the attributes that you can give to provide a certain benefit can be done. Okay, now I have used this once, though I left the company by the time it could take place. Was, you've heard of this car Reva?
Viva.
Yeah, Reva is now is part of Mahindra's, and you'll see this very small car called EV2O. It's an electric car. Okay, so Reva was able to make only 600 cars in a year. Bole to 50 cars in a month. It was at that time a Bangalore-based company, but they were cash-strapped. They were starting, but even at that level, they were at that time considered to be the largest electric car manufacturers in the world. This is a long time ago. I think it's in the year 2004. Okay, just across the road, we had a company-owned showroom, a Coco, in Bangalore. Just maybe 200 meters from there, the Maruti dealer was selling 600 cars a month. So what does that say? That says simply that my car will never be seen in the market, right? And Reva, with that 50 cars, felt that it should have all India presence. That means one car in Gurgaon, another car in Guwahati, third car in Gilgit. I mean, I'm just keeping to the G's. Now, that means the customer is not going to see it, and therefore he's not going to be convinced that this is the right car to have. Okay, so that was the first objection. And then to manufacture electric cars are even now quite expensive because of the batteries. Okay, although there are other ways to calculate why they are better. I mean, they're more economical, but there you are. The initial cost is high. So if you got initial cost high, and I'm not convinced of buying that. Sharmishta, what will you do? If you're not convinced of a product, okay, and you find the high price, maybe twice that of, a similar product, what would you do?
I'll opt for the lower price range product.
Yes. That is what was happening to Reva. So doing this particular analytics, I suddenly launched upon, first thing I did was, I said, look, we need to be seen. So we are not an all India company. Wherever we have sold, we'll have to take care of them. But we are closing down all the dealerships all over India, and we just stick to Karnataka. Okay. Then I realized that even Karnataka was too big. So we said, no, only Bangalore. We don't want to sell anywhere else. Then I further, because of this particular segmentation, I realized, I analyzed the data again through data mining, that about 80% of the cars that were sold were either directly bought by the women or were used by the woman. So actual consumer was a woman. Now that set me thinking that this means that if at all this car has to go, it is going to go as a second car in the family, because men have this bad habit of taking the first shot. So I said, so what do I do with it? Now, being a small car, I thought it would, and this was where I had heard, this would go to, college going students, the young funky brigade and this and that. But when I started my market research, I realized that the target customer who were major users of that 80%, maybe 90% of that 80%, I don't remember the exact figures, but they were women in the age group of 30 and 35. Now that set me, it kind of shocked me initially. So I went and started meeting ladies of that particular age group. And I suddenly realized that this car they were using either to pick up their school-going children, or to go to their kitty parties, or maybe pick up a vegetable, things like that. They were not using it for any heavy-duty use. It was always the husband who drove them around. Okay, so I discovered this. But then I also discovered that these women who were owning these cars were really proud, and they wanted to, kind of possess their vehicle. If the husband asked, sometimes they were little hesitant in giving. Now, this was an insight, which again reduced to a data. For me to go back to the company and say, look, India, or for that matter, very few countries in the world have an exclusive woman's car. Okay, so why can't? And there was uproar. I mean, the board really nearly kicked me out. Okay, but I could hold grounds and say, look, this is it. And then we discovered that no, we need to appeal. So they said, then the men folk will never drive our car. So I said, okay, when we can come for another car, we'll take out another model, which we'll call the men's car. Where's the problem there? So finally they gave in, and we began our research. The research was, what is it that a lady looks in the car, which is not there? And you won't believe it, there were 20 items that they said, I wish the car had that. One of them was a simple thing. We all have to wear seat belts. Okay. So
Yes.
when we are having Indian clothes, they don't have collar and there is no protection. And, it kind of hurts their neck, and you will see many ladies when they wear, they'll pull even now you'll see in the cars, they'll pull the seat belt a little so that it doesn't rub against their neck and hurt it. So I wish that could happen. Similarly, since most of the Indian clothes don't have pockets, now if the lady had to go out of the house, Okay, she would have to be very careful about the house key. Similarly, if they were to go to kitty party or those kind of stuff, if they were wearing heels, then their, the lower part of their leg would be, it would be strained a bit. Like that, small things we discovered. And then we went back to the same ladies that if these things were provided to you, how much are you willing to pay? They told me, basically it came out of that even if it is up to 10,000, it's good value for money. I went back to the factory to say that these 20 things, if you want to provide in the car, how much would it cost? They worked out the cost of all the 20 items to 3,000 bucks. They can get it for 3,000 bucks. And that also not when they were buying in bulk. They were 50 car watt bulk. Okay. So they could get it for 3,000 and the customer was willing to pay me a value of 10,000 bucks. Now, when we said, okay, then you put this and we'll raise the price by 6,000 bucks, not 10,000. Then the factory came up with saying, we can immediately, if you want, we can only do 7 of these things and the remaining will come in due course. Now, what do you think of that? How did it come through? It was this marketing analytics that we did, okay, by data mining and digging deeper. So this is what are the kind of segmentation that happens. What are the data mining techniques and this continuous, if we had launched a woman's car and much later, if you remember, there's a two-wheeler manufacturer called Hero. They used the same strategy when they came out with their first scooter. The scooter is called Pleasure. And what was the ad? Why should men have all the fun? Or rather, boys have all the fun. That is exactly what we were trying to do. And we were using, we had already talked to brand ambassadors of women who have succeeded, working women in that age group, managing a family and sometimes also becoming professionals. Okay. And we had those role models and we had the stories ready. You understand? So market segmentation is the first thing. And all the other, metrics that you want to fix, audit, or, get into analytics, then works backwards on that. Here are some applications. So customer segmentation marketing analytics allows businesses to move from one size fit all marketing strategies and adopt a more personalized, which is what I was able to do. Does that, is that acceptable?
Yes, sir.
So this is that. Now, these are the case studies which you can read. Here is the background. What were the challenges this company was facing? And what is the approach that they took? And what were the results that they got? Now, here is the result and here is the outcome. And therefore the conclusion. Any questions?
No, sir. Yes.
Sashmista, I don't know why I'm having difficulty in pronouncing your name.
It's Sharmishta, sir.
Sharmista. Okay. I'm so sorry, Sharmista. Sometimes I'm bad with names. I hope you'll forgive me. So this is all there is to it. Okay. I will send all the PPTs maybe today or tomorrow. Okay. To Mr. Neeraj. And I'm sure he will send it to you. I'll be very happy if you all can go and really try to dig a bit deep. Because remember, like I said, business has only two functions, marketing and innovation. And if you look at it even deeply, it is marketing. Because that's where rubber meets the road. No business can exist if you don't have a customer. all the other departments are expense centers. Marketing is the only one which earns revenue. So whether you want to go into the other departments or not, you must know marketing. So therefore, I would like you all to look at this and please ask me, and there is nothing stupid. Don't think if you ask me something, it's stupid. It is better to be stupid here between the three of us than to be stupid outside. All right. It was great interacting with both of you, and I missed Sarmista last time, but she's a busy girl.
I fall sick, sir, actually, here.
No, I understand. So in any case, I'm leaving you all with these thoughts in a kind of 5 or 6 sessions. Even if it's 2 hours, things cannot be finished. But once we get into this relationship of teacher and students, please feel free to reach to me. I'll be more than happy to help.
Surely, sir.
Yeah. Have a great day. I don't know which is your next subject.
Great day to you too, sir.
Yeah. Have a great day. And if possible,
Okay,
keep
sir.
in touch.
For
All
sure,
the
sir.
best.
Thank you.
Right.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.